You're listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast network. Hello, Miami Dolphin fans, and welcome to the Same Old Dolphins Show, part of the DolphinsTalk.com podcast network. I'm Josh Katzker. With me today and every day is my brother from the exact same mother, Aaron the Brain. Aaron, say hello to the people.
Hello to the people.
This train does not stop. Last week, the Dolphins got the big victory over the Arizona Cardinals, 34-31. We got the Tua versus Kyler matchup, and now we are going to have the Tua versus Justin Herbert matchup. And this is one that is going to have another one with just narratives. The narratives are coming in. Did the Dolphins get the right guy? Should they have taken Herbert? You know, they ended up with Tua. Is Herbert actually the best rookie quarterback in the NFL? There are a lot of different storylines out there, and with all those storylines going on, the rookie quarterback that has his team in the best position at this point is Tua Tagovailoa. Granted, he didn't put his team in that position, but there he is, right there, leading the Dolphins to the Dolphins have won their last two behind Tua's efforts, although, I think the defense played a big role in that game against the Rams, but Tua really showed us what he had last week in the game against Arizona, and now he's going to go up against the Los Angeles Chargers and Justin Herbert at 4:05 p.m. From Hard Rock, what is it now? Hard Rock Stadium? Hard Rock Stadium.
Right.
She's in...
Well, you've been away for a while.
Yeah, it's, listen, still Joe Robbie to me, but, I'd like to meet the person that still calls it Pro Player Stadium or Pro Player Park. It was Pro Player Park for like a week and a half before they decided. Anyway, this is neither here.
Land Shark for a little bit.
Hey, remember when it was Land Shark? That was a full season that Land Shark had the sponsorship deal with them. But yeah, Pro Player for a little while. Anyway, the Dolphins going up against the Chargers this week, and we are going to talk about it right here on the Same Old Dolphins Show. But before we do, a reminder, as always, to make sure that you are following us on all of the social media channels. So on Twitter, we are at Same Old Dolphins. The Brain is at Aaron the Brain. That's Aaron the Brain, and I am at Amplified to Rock. That's Twitter. Over at Facebook, we have a Facebook page, facebook.com/Same Old Dolphins. And we'll be sharing some thoughts that some of you left over there on the Facebook page when we get to our #OneHotTake segment later in the show. And additionally, every episode of the Same Old Dolphin Show is available at DolphinsTalk.com. It is your one-stop shop for all things Miami Dolphins, so make sure to visit DolphinsTalk.com each and every day for all the latest Miami Dolphins news and information. And additionally, we now have a YouTube channel. It is the Dolphins Talk YouTube channel. So head over to youtube.com, do a search for Dolphins Talk, all one word, and you will find it. That ever since we started pushing this YouTube channel, people have been coming over there and joining it and subscribing. So we appreciate all of you that have done that so far. And if you haven't yet, we hope that you will do that. And this episode, of course, and every episode of the Same Old Dolphin Show going forward will also be available on the Dolphins Talk YouTube channel. So make sure you do that. And finally, last but certainly not least, make sure that you are subscribed to the show, whether that's Apple Podcasts, whether it's Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or wherever it is that you get your podcasts. Make sure that you have subscribed to the Same Old Dolphin Show. And if you find yourself with a little bit of time, just a little bit, you don't need to have a lot of time, we hope that you will leave us a 5-star rating and a positive review. Write us a little review over there, particularly on Apple Podcasts. Helps us out a lot, and we appreciate each and every one of you that have done that so far. All right, Brain. The Miami Dolphins coming into this game against the Chargers. And on its face, this looks like a game that the Dolphins should not have a problem with. On its face, it looks like a game that the Dolphins should come in with. Like, Dolphins have been on a 4-game winning streak. They've got the Chargers coming in with a 2-6 record. And, you know, it looks like this should be easy enough. But when you really look at the Chargers, I mean, when you really take a look at this team, there's a lot of talent on this team. Granted, the defense is a little bit banged up, but they're getting some of those key pieces back. But they're missing, obviously, Austin Eckler on the offense. They're missing Justin Jackson. So they're missing some pieces on both sides of the ball, very much like the Dolphins are, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But this is still a very talented team, and they're 2-6. I think almost all of their losses have been single possession losses. So this is a team that finds themselves in the middle of games constantly, and they're in it to the end. So this is certainly not going to be a walk in the park for the Miami Dolphins. So let's take a look at this game. We'll start first on the offensive side of the ball for the Miami Dolphins and what they're going to need to do offensively and what the Chargers might try to do defensively to slow the Dolphins down. But before, I guess the place where this conversation has to start, Brain, is with the news that broke, right after we released the last episode of the podcast, after we had just gotten finished talking about how the Preston Williams injury doesn't sound like it's going to be that bad. It sounds like it's, he's more like a day-to-day situation. We released the podcast and boom, the Dolphins have placed him on injured reserve. It sounds like there's a possibility that he's going to stay on injured reserve for the rest of the season, that we don't see him again. But it's kind of unclear. Either way, he's on the shelf for at least 3 weeks. And that makes the Dolphins, who were already fairly thin at receiver, I think, even thinner now at receiver. So how does that injury affect the Dolphins' offense, and what is this offense going to do? How are they going to attack this Los Angeles Chargers defense? Because between the mystery of the running back situation and now with Preston Williams being injured, I honestly have no idea what to expect from this Dolphins offense on Sunday.
Well, I think we have a pretty good idea of what to expect from the Dolphins offense. And it's not that Preston Williams won't be a huge loss, because he's a big part of what the Dolphins offense does. He is, I believe, second on the team in receptions, second on the team in targets, second on the team in yards. Behind Devontae Parker, he is the next option, and he's a big body. He's a body that they've liked, whether it was Fitzpatrick or Tua, they like to target him in the red zone. So he's going to be missed. But that said, it's not like this offense has not played without him. Last season, he got injured right around the same time of the year, I believe in week 10, in the 9th game of the season. And the Dolphins played the last 7 games of the season without him. In the last game, he went out after his touchdown, which I believe was early in the 3rd quarter. And the Dolphins played without him, and they moved the ball and they scored. And all you got to do is really look at who they went to when Preston Williams came out, and that's going to give you your key as to what this offense is going to look like. Last year, Preston Williams was the team's number 1 receiver at the time that he left. And I realized that Chan Gailey wasn't here last year, and Fitzpatrick was the quarterback last year, and now Tua is here. But last year, when Preston Williams went out, what happened? Devontae Parker went off. Devontae Parker just got a lion's share of the targets. His target share percentage went way up. He produced at a high level, at a number 1 receiver level. And, this year, Preston Williams came back, and Devontae Parker has still been producing, but his numbers have been kind of similar to what they were last year in the first half of the year when Preston Williams was there, and both of them were kind of neck and neck as far as targets, yards, receptions, touchdowns, things of that nature. And Preston Williams goes out in this last game, and 5 of Devontae Parker's 6 catches in the last game come after Preston Williams comes out. Jakeem Grant, I believe, had 3 catches after Preston Williams comes out of that game. That's where the offense is going to go. You're going to have other guys step up, but it means a greater target share for Devontae Parker. It means Jakeem Grant will be more involved, but then you're also going to need other guys to step up. Last week, Mac Hollins got on the field. He got 1 target, and it was the biggest catch of the whole game. So maybe he gets in there. Lynn Bowden has now been, elevated or activated, taken off of the COVID list. Maybe Lynn Bowden has a greater role in this offense. Hey, maybe without Preston Williams was, big part of the game plan last week, but now having a week to prepare without Preston Williams on the game plan, maybe that means Mike Gesicki is a bigger part of the offensive game plan. They activated Chris Myrick from the practice squad this week in news for a couple of other players who got put on that COVID list, which we'll talk about when we get to the other side of the ball. But Durham Smythe, questionable with a concussion. This tells me the activation of Chris Myrick, it means one of 2 things. It means either we're going to go with 4 tight ends, which could mean bigger packages, more 2-3 tight end packages, more packages with 2 receivers versus the 3 receiver sets. That's another way of attacking it. It could also simply mean that Chris Myrick, a receiving tight end, kind of a project that the Dolphins have been hanging on to. He was on the practice squad all year last year, has been on the practice squad the whole season this year. Maybe this is kind of a secret weapon that they're going to unleash on the LA Chargers, given that there's an opportunity there. We're losing a big body. Let's throw a big body out there. So I think there's some unknown there, but also I think there's a lot of known. And I think the thing that we know is that Devontae Parker is going to be a huge key to this offense going forward. He needs to be the number 1 guy, the guy that we saw last year. And to be honest, he has been that whenever he's been targeted. And he's played through some injuries this year. And honestly, that's probably the most impressive thing because he still looked like the Devontae Parker that we saw last year while playing through injuries, which was the biggest criticism on Devontae Parker through the first 3-4 years of his career. So I think that's what the offense is going to look like. But ultimately, what would be a huge help is if they could get the running game going. Because, look, they might not be able to simply replace Preston Williams' production in the passing game. But you're going up against a defense that is allowing 4.9 yards a carry in the bottom quarter of the league when it comes to rushing yards per carry. This might be an opportunity to get that running game going, take some of the pressure off of Tua and this passing game.
Yeah, Brian Flores said this week that with Preston Williams going down, that we were unlikely to see somebody go from getting 10 snaps to suddenly getting 60 snaps, but everybody is going to sort of get a little bit of a gradual increase in the amount of action that they're seeing offensively. So we're going to see that, and probably not just at receiver. We're going to see that at running back as well. I imagine Matt Breida, as we are recording this on Friday evening, is still questionable for Sunday. Sounds like it's going to be a game time decision as to whether or not he goes. But, so it may be a situation where Breida's getting a few carries, where Jordan Wonyard is getting a few more carries, where Salvin Ahmed is getting more carries, where Patrick Laird is getting more involved. This is a team that's been very good about the next man up mentality so far. And this is one of the areas where I think that Brian Flores has been succeeding with flying colors. His ability to instill in his players the confidence that if it's your turn to come up and step up, that you can do that and you can deliver. And it's been impressive because, you take a look at the Dolphins roster I almost did it, the Los Angeles Chargers roster, and you look at them side by side, you would think that the Chargers would be the team that with the 5-3 record, and the Dolphins would be the team with the 2-6 record. But it just goes to show what head coaching can do for you. And without getting into the whole conversation, but I think between Brian Flores and Anthony Lynn, the Miami Dolphins are the team with the better head coach at this moment in time. Brain, what are the Chargers going to do defensively to try to slow this Dolphins offense down? Because they're dealing with some, they're not totally healthy over there.
No, they're not totally healthy. And, really, they've only got one injury that stands out, but it happens to be their best player, and that's Joey Bosa. You can make the argument that Melvin Ingram is just as good as Joey Bosa. The fact is, they make a hell of a tandem, and they're extremely difficult to prepare for when both of those guys are healthy. So the fact that one of those guys, Joey Bosa, is out, that makes them significantly easier to prepare for, especially because of the type of defense that they run. They run a defense that's very similar to that Seattle Seahawks defense of a lot of cover three, a lot of bringing pressure with the front four, similar to what we saw a couple weeks ago against the Rams, a team that does not blitz very much. In fact, the Chargers blitz, I believe, as little as anybody in the league, something like 11% of the time. This is a team that really relies on getting pressure with their front four with those guys, specifically Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram. So without Bosa there, I think it makes it easier to look. You could put an extra blocker there. You could let maybe Ingram ends up head to head against Austin Jackson, and Austin Jackson can handle him, or he ends up one-on-one against Robert Hunt, and Robert Hunt can handle him. But you might want to put a tight end on that side. You might want to chip him with a running back. You might want to slide the protection that way. You can double one guy. You can't double two guys. So the fact that Bosa is out, I think that makes it a clear-cut strategy as far as who you key on. As far as the rest of that Chargers defense, look, they're going to play zone. They're going to try to keep everything in front. They're going to try to limit big plays. But frankly, I think that plays into Miami's hands. I think Miami is an offense that's based on rhythm and timing. They want to take their shots when available, but they're not afraid to take what the defense gives them. They're not afraid. Obviously, Tua is tremendous at that short to intermediate game as far as his accuracy with the slants and the outs and all of those short to intermediate routes. But I think the way to attack a defense that's going to play a lot of cover three is to attack them short and take what they give you and then try to come up with some run after the catch. So screen passes, quick slants, passes out to the flare. I think this would be, if Matt Breida ends up playing, this would be an ideal matchup to utilize a guy like Matt Breida. But even a guy like Mike Gesicki who can attack in the seams, or maybe and maybe the Dolphins can take a couple of shots where Jakeem Grant can try to blow the top off of the coverage, or just Jakeem Grant being there to maybe draw a couple of those defenders deep, open some things up in that intermediate game for other guys. There are ways to attack them, and it's just significantly easier when they're missing a guy like Joey Bosa, because they're a team that relies on getting pressure from their front four, and you take away their best pass rusher, and now it's difficult to get that pressure. And if we can keep the pocket clean, then it should be a good day for Tua. This team gives up a lot of yards, but ultimately the place where Miami's got to attack them is in the middle. We got to be able to run the football. We should be able to run the football against them. Again, they're giving up 4.9 yards a carry on the ground. The Dolphins' running game has not been good. So it wouldn't shock me if we can't get that 4.9 yards a carry. But we've also shown an ability to kind of be creative and manufacture some rushing yards. At least we did last week, whether it was Savon Ahmed or Tua scrambling. I think this could be a game where we break out a little bit of the run-pass option, or maybe with Lynn Bowden back and Malcolm Perry there, maybe with both of those guys on the field. Maybe this is an ideal situation to bust out some Wildcat. The only caveat I'll say to that is I don't necessarily want to see the Wildcat if Tua's out there and he's just balling. If Tua's balling and he's getting into a rhythm and we're moving the football, then I don't need to see gimmicks to try to get something going. That said, if we're struggling to get something going, this might be a good week to try it.
Agree 100%. If the Dolphins are struggling to get the ball moving on the ground and Tua is not able to get something going in the air because, the Chargers are just sort of sitting back waiting on it, then then it's time to, mix it up. But if Tua's, out there slinging it all over the place, and Matt Breida or Savon Ahmed or even Jordan Howard, if they're out there getting, and they're managing to move the football, then I think, you don't need to put those wrinkles in there. I mean, we know that the Dolphins are working on those wrinkles. We saw a very little bit of it in the game against Arizona last week. And, I think as much as you can use those to sort of help give you a spark when you need it, then that's the time to do it. But if you're moving the ball well, there's no reason to put it into the mix otherwise. So let's move to the other side of the ball. And as we sort of hinted at earlier, the Dolphins have lost a couple of key defensive players to the COVID-19 list, and they are Kyle Van Noy and Christian Wilkins. We know that the Dolphins have now brought up Benito Jones to sort of help out on the line and cover some snaps on the defensive line. And if the rest of I imagine that we'll probably see a lot more Sam Eguavoen on the defensive side of the ball in the linebacker core to try to cover up for some of that lost time that Van Noy would have been filling. But I mean, the biggest thing with Van Noy is you're losing that leader on the field. And I think that is going to be an area where, there's certainly somebody else out there that's going to be able to lead the troops, whether it's Jerome Baker, or somebody else. There's somebody that's going to, sort of lead the troops on the field. But still a pretty big loss for this Dolphins team defensively. Now, the sort of good news is when you're looking at the Chargers offensively, they're missing some talent offensively. They're missing some running backs. Austin Eckler is gone. Justin Jackson is gone. Pope is not going to play in this game. So it looks like it's going to be a backfield of Joshua Kelly and Kalen Ballage. The infamous Kalen Garbage comes back. Finally, Kalen Garbage has come back to Hard Rock Stadium. And, hopefully the Dolphins will be able to keep him from running wild. I mean, as long as they don't give him a giant hole that he can run straight through, it should be no problem. But, we'll see. Anyway, then again, he's also escaped the clutches of Adam Gase, so who knows? I mean, he had escaped the clutches of Adam Gase last year. He still didn't do anything. So, I don't know how much that narrative holds weight for Kalen Ballage. But anyway, and then of course the Chargers have Justin Herbert as their quarterback, and he's a guy that has been shining through since he got the start in I think it was the second game of the season for the Chargers when he wasn't expecting it. Tyrod Taylor gets a punctured lung from a team doctor, and suddenly Justin Herbert is the starter for the Chargers, and he has just been fantastic. Not only is he throwing the ball really well, he also has the big physical ability to get outside and run. So that's something that the Dolphins are going to have to keep an eye on. Maybe not to the point that Kyler Murray did it last week, but this is still a mobile quarterback with the ability to move. He's a big guy. And I think the biggest thing with him is that the difference between Justin Herbert and some of these quarterbacks that the Dolphins have faced in the couple of weeks prior is that Herbert actually thrives when you throw the blitz at him. And he's actually this season really been pretty good at figuring out how, when that blitz is coming, at diagnosing it and finding his guys. And he's got some pretty good talent at receiver with Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen won an elite receiver in the league. He's got Hunter Henry at tight end, who he's not maybe utilizing as much as you might expect him to. But this is still an offense that is pretty loaded with Justin Herbert at the helm. So what are the Dolphins going to need to do defensively to slow this Chargers offense down? This is the number 2 offense in the NFL right now when it comes to yards per game, and number 6 in the league when it comes to passing yardage through the per game. So what are the Dolphins going to need to do to slow this team down, Brent?
So as far as Kyle Van Noy, where I think the Dolphins will miss him the most is this. He is so adept at setting the edge, and he's just so disciplined and so good at being in the right place and doing his job. That old Patriots adage of do your job. And he'll be replaced with guys like Andrew Van Ginkel and Sam Eguavoen. But those guys have been really sub-package linebackers that have been used in specific packages with specific roles. And with Van Noy going out, it's going to be interesting to see exactly how the Dolphins utilize those guys. Do those guys stay in those roles? Do they see an expanded role? Does Shaq Lawson spend more time standing up at linebacker? Do the Dolphins maybe, go a different route with some linebacker, or, do they play more dime coverage in this game, being that the Chargers are not a great running team and don't have a lot of running back depth? I do think we're going to see a lot of Andrew Van Ginkel in this game. And Van Ginkel has looked really good in the snaps that he's got. He's been a difference maker. And then I think in, more like obvious pass downs where they want to bring pressure, I think Sam Eguavoen has shown. All you got to do is really look a couple weeks ago when Van Noy missed the game against the Jets, and Sam Eguavoen came in and played, I think it was something like 50 snaps in that game, and he played really, really well. So it, like you said, it is a next man up mentality that this team, that really every team in the NFL thrives to have, but the Dolphins have really shown so far that they really have taken it to heart, and they really thrive on it, and they take pride in it. And I fully expect. One thing I know is that the Dolphins aren't going to make excuses. They're not going to, if they come out and they have a bad game, they're not going to blame it on Kyle Van Noy and Christian Wilkins being out. They're not going to blame it on Preston Williams being out. They're going to say, we didn't do a good enough job. And they're going to take accountability on that. And every single guy on this roster is. And that's a sign of great coaching. It's, every guy down the line will kind of parrot the same things that Brian Flores is saying, and they're all of the right things. They're cliches. They're those coach cliches, but you'd much rather have that than guys that are, pointing the finger or not taking accountability. So I think the guys are going to step up. I think Kyle Van Noy is going to be missed. Honestly, I think the Christian Wilkins, him being absent, it's not an injury, but, his absence, I think maybe felt a little bit more because you combine that with losing Devon Godchow earlier this season, and you've now lost your top 2 defensive tackles coming into this game. So it means a huge responsibility is now on Raekwon Davis, who has been seeing more and more snaps every week and has been playing pretty well. But you're probably going to see his snap count drastically increase this week. And then Zach Sealer, he's been amazing so far. He has been the revelation of the season. Well, I mean, I don't know, him or Emmanuel Ogbah, because Emmanuel Ogbah right now has been an absolute beast. I guess Emmanuel Ogbah had some expectations, and he's far surpassed them. Zach Sealer had no expectations, but he's far surpassed them. Zach Sealer now has a huge amount of responsibility. Benito Jones, sort of a nose tackle, maybe a little bit of an undersized nose tackle, can do some one gap stuff and get after the quarterback a little bit. He will likely play a role getting in the middle, and you might see a little bit of Jason Strobridge, who made his NFL debut last week and got in for something like 12 snaps. So the depth is going to be tested here, but ultimately, I think rather than throwing a huge amount of responsibility on guys like Benito Jones and Jason Strobridge, I think you're going to see a greater responsibility on guys like Raekwon Davis, Zach Sealer, and I think Shaq Lawson, who may even, they may even move him inside a little bit and maybe move him out to outside linebacker. We might see a more four-man fronts from the Dolphins in this game to kind of mitigate missing, a big body like Christian Wilkins. I don't know. We'll see. Or they might go the complete opposite direction, and they might say, all right, we're going to throw Raekwon Davis in there at nose tackle and play him 75% of the snaps and get, have to have fewer defensive tackles in because of that. I don't know, but they're going to have a plan. It's not just simply going to be, we're going to have the same game plan that we had before, and we're just going to make this square peg fit into a round hole. That's not the Dolphins' way of doing things with this coaching staff. They realize that every player has a different skill set. They're going to change up the game plan based on the players that they have, based on the opponent that they're playing. And so I think you're going to see different fronts and just different packages that are in there. And like Brian Flores said, you're not going to see guys go from 10 snaps to 60 snaps. You're just going to see, a little bit more responsibility put on the shoulders of every single player.
So what is going to be the key to winning this game for the Miami Dolphins, or defensively at least? What is going to be the key to stopping this Chargers offense?
I think it's two things. I think, obviously, first and foremost, you got to make Justin Herbert feel uncomfortable. The Dolphins have been really good the last, it feels like forever now, but I guess it's been 4 games. It's been this whole winning streak. Even last week, they were really good at making, Kyler Murray uncomfortable. The thing is that Kyler Murray, just made things happen with his legs. And Justin Herbert, don't get me wrong, he's a great athlete and he's fast and he's mobile. It's not like he's Joe Flacco or Jimmy Garoppolo back there, but he doesn't have that quick twitch, excuse me. He doesn't have that quick twitch fiber in him to just explode and change of direction. I think he's more of a guy that will, they'll design plays for him to roll out and get on the run, get him out in open space. If he gets pressured, he can maybe avoid it, maybe drift back a little bit. He can move in the pocket because he does have good feet, but he's not a guy that's just going to tear off for a 20-yard run unless he's got just, man coverage and everybody's 20 yards downfield and there's nobody there. if they bring the blitzes the way they have the last few weeks with Josh Boyer and Brian Flores doing it that way, and they're scheming the pressure and it's coming from different places and he's not able to diagnose it right away, I think they'll be able to get some sacks. I think they can force him into a couple of mistakes and just generally make him feel uncomfortable. I don't think he's unflappable back there. He has been good under pressure, but just like most quarterbacks in the league, his numbers have, regressed a bit when he is under pressure, and he is prone to making some more mistakes when he's under pressure. So I think that's a big key. The other big key is that the Chargers are 23rd in the league in red zone touchdown percentage. So the Chargers are going to move the ball because they're a very good offense, and you're going to give up some plays, and you just have to understand that that's part of it. But if you can avoid giving up the big plays, and this Chargers team likes to get big plays, they've got between Mike Williams and Jalen Guyton, a couple of receivers that are in the top 15 in the league in yards on catches that are over 20 yards. Those are guys that make big plays downfield. If we can keep those guys in check and just keep, those big plays at a minimum and force the Chargers to go on long drives, this is a team that has struggled in the red zone because they can't run the ball with any consistency, and it's harder to throw the ball the closer you get down into the red zone, especially the way the Dolphins defend it with Byron Jones, Xavier Howard, Eric Rowe to match up on Hunter Henry. The Dolphins have the horses to match up with the weapons that the Chargers have on the outside. It's just a matter of, can the Dolphins bend but not break? And then ultimately, where the Dolphins have struggled defensively is where the Chargers have struggled offensively, which is running the football. So can the Dolphins stop the run? Kalen Garbage. He was Kalen Garbage here through one game with the LA Chargers. He's been Kalen Balaj. He had a very good game last week against Las Vegas. So we'll see. We'll see if the Dolphins can shut down the run. If they can shut down the run and just not give up big plays and put pressure on Justin Herbert, I think there's a clear path to victory in this game.
There it is. So we're going to take a quick break. And then when we come back from that break, we are going to talk about the hashtag one hot take. From many of our listeners shared their one hot take with us for this game, and then we will make our predictions for this Sunday's game. So we will be back right after a quick word from our good friends at Manscaped. And we are back here on the Same Old Dolphin Show, and it is time for our hashtag one hot take segment. Every week right before the game, usually on a Wednesday or Thursday, I will send word out into the ether to ask the Dolphin fans what their hashtag one hot take is for the upcoming game. And as always, you do not disappoint. The listeners have shared a lot of takes with us. And so here we go. Brain, if you hear anything that makes you super excited or that makes you hesitant, you'll jump in as you always do. So first off, at Patch Vibes says Fins by 20. I love it. At Turo23 says his hashtag one hot take is Dolphins run game shows up and they win their 5th in a row. I like it.
All right.
Josh A, Go Habs Go says Tua will outplay Herbert. Jones and X will play their best game and Miami wins. Too Awesome, spelled Tua Weesum, 1. So Too Awesome 1 says hot take for this one is the run game shows up out of nowhere and this game is not about Tua versus Herbert. Oh, that is a formula for success if the Dolphins can just run the ball so that it really doesn't even become all about Tua. That would be fantastic there. Let's see, what do we got here? Andrew Tornetta says Herbert plays his worst game of the season. Dolphins win by 20 plus.
Super excited.
Yeah, I like that. John _ Claude 21 says there will be zero doubt after Sunday that the Miami Dolphins, Tua, and Coach Flo have officially arrived and are legit. Let's see. At the Hug Plug says Herbert has his worst game. Dolphins blow out the Chargers. Guam Fuchsius says Dolphins zero blitz scheme will be too much for Herbert. I have my doubts about that one. Let's see. George 242364 says Grant will score 2 touchdowns, one on a sweep, next on a slant.
That was actually going to be my hot take, was that I think Jakeem Grant is going to have a big play in the ground game on like an end around. So I like that one a lot.
That's a good one. Excellent. Let's see. At Finn _ Addict say Herbert will have 2 or more interceptions.
I like it.
How about this one? From at Al the Wanderer. He says Tua will throw passes to 18 different receivers. I don't know that the Dolphins have 18 different receivers.
Yeah, I don't know how, unless he's going to, I mean, maybe he completes one to himself. Maybe you get a tackle eligible. Maybe you get a batted ball and a guard comes up with one. Even with all that, I think your 12 is probably where it's capped.
Well, I think the spirit of the take is that Tua is going to spread the ball around.
He's going to spread the wealth.
He's going to spread the wealth. I can get behind that. Let's see. At E1985A says the Chargers will not score more than 10 points. Let's see. This is from Elias Ochoa. At Eli _ Loco 8, he says, I think the Dolphins have over 150 rushing yards with the help of mainly Breida and Ahmed. Sounds crazy, but I just have a gut feeling this will be the game plan. Well, Tab, it's definitely going to be the game plan. It's whether or not they're going to be able to make it happen.
I agree that it sounds crazy.
Yay. At M Harrison 74 says combined points over 70. What is the over under on this game?
Let me get it for you.
I'm sure
riffing.
70 would be the over for sure.
Yeah. Keep riffing. Keep coming with the hot takes. I'll get you that.
I'll keep going. Cameron Sparks says Byron Jones gets his first interception as a Dolphin. At Dirty South 1982 says we sack Herbert 5 times. Let's see.
The over under is 48.
Oh, so this would be way where'd he go? So at M Harrison 74 says take the over on this one. Yeah, that's wow. Let's see here. We've got all right, here we go. At R Hilbert 1187 says big halftime lead and comfortable win similar to Jags game. I'll take it. I would love to not be
in the majority of the Dolphins wins this year.
I'm telling you, this is a game against the Chargers, so it almost is definitely going to come down to the last possession. But I would be grateful if it didn't. Let's see. Here we go. At Fin Fixation says Dolphins D scores a touchdown for a 3rd game in a row. At Minka's mom says Ahmed Player of the Week. And let's see. Here we go. G Cooper L says X-Man gets 2 picks. Here we go. At Libertarian 1214 says Dolphins will rush for 150 yards. At Mercenova says Jakeem gets his first bomb touchdown, leaving everyone in the dust. Thrown by Tua. I like it. Here's a good one. At Clap I Florida says Finns score more points and win.
Not the hottest take, but probably, he's got a 50-50 shot at being right, or maybe a better than 50-50 shot.
Absolutely. Here we go from Leon Carlos. He says Jason Sanders remains perfect, 4-4 and 3 extra points. Wow, that's a lot of scoring.
That's 33 points.
We're probably looking at the Dolphins scoring on almost every possession there. Here's another one from M Baselio 1. This will be the maybe Jakeem is the next Wes Welker game.
A lot of Jakeem Grant.
Everybody getting a lot of love for Jakeem there. Let's see.
A couple of good weeks, and everybody is back on board. I mean, I'm back on board, but we'll We'll see.
We'll see. Drunk Fitzmagic says Herbert doubles his interception total. Byron Jones gets one, and Eric Rowe gets the other. Let's see. Austin Dobbins says Kalen Garbage revenge game. It's possible. It's possible.
I mean, he looked good. He looked good last week.
Let's see. Let's see what we got here. Byron Jones gets his first interception since 2017 from Joe Perez. Tua catches a TD pass from either Malcolm Perry or Lynn Bowden. That's Bacon Shake 34. That's a good take. That's what I'm here for. Here's another one from @Finn's Disciple. Manti Te'o's girlfriend leaves the game with Tua. This is good stuff.
So he's leaving solo.
Yeah, that's right. Let's see.
What a throwback.
Yeah, that's a good way. Manti Te'o's still in the league.
Does he have a girlfriend, or he's still dating that other one?
We don't know. We don't know. TBD. Let's see. Last one here from the Twitter machine @Golski says Howard versus Balaj. Both teams going to have negative yards on the ground. That's a pretty good take. Let's see. Justin O'Donnell on Facebook says this is exactly the kind of game Miami tends to lose.
Oh, God, yes, it is.
It's true. It is a very same old Dolphins thing for the Dolphins to lose this kind of game. Because the national media is paying attention. We've heard a lot from the national media giving the Dolphins love this week. So then, to have them go lay an egg against the Chargers would be a very same old Dolphins thing. @Kevin Delafave says we lose a heartbreaker. But this is also on Facebook right here. Silber Chican says, we at home, we don't lose.
We lost the first 2 home games we had this season.
Yeah, but this is the Tua era. It's Tua time, baby. So things have changed. All right, Brian, we got some hot takes from the listeners. So now it is time to turn the tables on ourselves and make our predictions for this game. You're going to go first. How are the Dolphins going to fare against the Chargers? Are they 6-3, maintaining their playoff wildcard spot? Or do they fall to 5-4 in a big, disappointing, heartbreaking loss at home to the Chargers? What you got here?
I think offensively, while things will be different without Preston Williams, and he will be missed, I think specifically in the red zone, I do think the Dolphins are going to be able to get things going against this Chargers defense. I think that with each week, Tua is going to grow more and more comfortable. I think the fact that Joey Bosa is out is going to make things a lot easier on this offensive line. The fact that they don't throw a lot of blitzes makes this an easier opponent to prepare for this offensive line. And I think, it's an offensive line that's really struggled the last 2 weeks, and there's been some shuffling of some personnel, and we're not even really sure what who's going to be starting on the offensive line. Is Solomon Kindley going to be out? Is Jesse Davis going to be in? Is it going to look different than that? All we know is there's 6 guys that they really like, and 5 of them are going to start, and in all likelihood, all 6 of them are going to get in the game. But I think that this offensive line that was playing really well and has kind of taken a step back against 2 really good opponents the last 2 weeks will have a bounce back. I believe that Tua is going to get comfortable. He's going to get into a rhythm. I think we're going to see a big game from Devontae Parker. I think I would not be surprised if Devontae Parker puts up 100 yards and a touchdown in this game. And I think you're going to see Jakeem Grant be a bigger part of this offense. I think you're going to see Jakeem Grant used in a jet sweep or an end around. I think you're going to see more RPO, and you're going to see I think you're going to see some of those wrinkles where Lynn Bowden and Malcolm Perry get in there and they're utilized a couple of times in this game in opportune spots. And I think the Dolphins offense is going to get into a rhythm and going to move the ball. I think this game is going to come down to red zone opportunities. I think both defenses are going to make it their goal to limit big plays and keep things in front of them and try to play bend but not break defense. The Dolphins have been better at that than the Chargers have been this year. And I don't expect that to change. Furthermore, I think that the Dolphins have shown the last 4 weeks propensity to be able to get after the quarterback and get after the quarterback in creative ways that the opposing offense is not prepared for and has surprised those opposing quarterbacks. Yes, Kyler Murray had a great game last week, but I think that's going to be the story pretty much every game, or just about every game, for Kyler Murray, is that Kyler Murray is just one of those guys that sometimes there's nothing you can do. You have a great play dialed up, and then he goes and he improvises and turns it into a 20-yard game. I don't think that's the case here with Justin Herbert. I think while he's mobile, I think he's much more similar to guys like Joe Flacco and Jimmy Garoppolo that and Jared Goff, who the Dolphins had a lot of success against. He's a guy that will do much of his work in the pocket or backing up. Now, the thing about Herbert is he does have that elite arm where he's able to make throws while drifting back and while throwing off his back foot that a lot of guys can't make. The thing is, I think this Dolphins secondary is really well equipped to handle the weapons that the Chargers have. So I do think this is a game where, again, the Dolphins are going to be able to force some turnovers. And I wouldn't be surprised if for the third week in a row, the Dolphins defense comes with some points in this game. And I think it's going to be that kind of effort. But that said, I think the Chargers are going to make a game out of this. I don't think they're going to go away. Their season is kind of, I mean, most people would say, well, they're pretty much done. You're 2-6, and you probably have to win 9 or 10 games to get into the playoffs. The odds of them winning, 7 of their last 8 or the last 8 games, it's slim and none. But this is a team that's, fighting for their season right now. Every game has been close, and that they could have easily won 3 of the games. I mean, honestly, they could have easily won 5 of the 6 games that they lost. You got a pair of overtime losses. You have a 1-point loss a couple weeks ago to Denver where they blew a huge lead. And then you have a game last week that looked like they had it won with, a fade route in the end zone that looks like a catch, and then all of a sudden it's not ruled a catch. So that's 4 games right there where if you switch it, all of a sudden they're 6-2 and they're the talk of the league. So this Chargers team is better than their record. It's going to be a tough game, but I think the Dolphins are going to make more big plays in those aspects: turnovers, red zone defense, non-offensive scores. And then the great equalizer, the Dolphins special teams, Jason Sanders continuing to be elite. Matt Hawk continuing to do a great job in field position, knocking opponents back, pinning opponents back inside their 20, inside their 10. I think the Dolphins build a lead in this game and kind of hang on and do what they need to do to come up with a victory. And I'm calling it Miami 27, Los Angeles, not San Diego, Los Angeles 23.
Yeah, I'm with you on this. I think it's going to be a hard-fought game. I think it's going to be close, and I think it's going to be maybe a little bit more low scoring. I think we're going to see Tua maybe make a costly mistake in this game at some point. And I think turnovers are going to come into it. But ultimately, I think it's going to come down to something that it came down to last week, which is the fact that the Miami Dolphins have a coaching staff that is competent and knows how to win games on the field when it comes down to it. And on the other sideline, you got Anthony Lynn, who just has a tendency to make a mess out of things. And I think that's what's going to happen here. I think there's going to be some sort of flub down the stretch that Anthony Lynn is going to make, and it's going to hand an opportunity to the Miami Dolphins, who will take advantage of it. And your boy, Jason Sanders, is going to have a game-winning 44-yard field goal. I'm going to get very specific. It's a game-winning 44-yard field goal for your boy, Jason Sanders, and the Miami Dolphins defeat the Los Angeles Chargers by a score of 23-21. There you have it. That is going to wrap up this episode of the Same Old Dolphins Show. We will be back after this game to talk all about it, to look at what happened, talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. We'll be back here in your podcast feed on YouTube, talking to you about what happened. And as always, if you have thoughts that you want to share with us, get at us, whether it's on Twitter, at Same Old Dolphins, at Aaron the Brain, at Amplified to Rock. You can send us an email if you want. It's Same Old Dolphins Show, all spelled out, at gmail.com. Same Old Dolphins Show at gmail.com. If you want to ask us a question via Gmail, go for it. Get in there. We're happy to respond and get back to you. And we'll do that. And if you've got thoughts and comments, tweet at us, post on the Facebook page, facebook.com/Same Old Dolphins. Send us an email, and we are happy to get at you. Just another reminder, as always, make sure that you're visiting DolphinsTalk.com each and every day for all your latest Miami Dolphins news and information. Make sure you are subscribed to the Dolphins Talk YouTube channel. Go to YouTube, search for Dolphins Talk, all one word, and you will find the Dolphins Talk channel. Make sure you subscribe so that you get all of the videos from us, from everybody over at Dolphins Talk. We're going to be adding much more new content to that YouTube channel, so make sure that you are subscribed so that you are ready for it when it comes down. We will talk to you early next week, but for now, take care of yourselves and each other, and we will talk to you again next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Go Dolphins!